ESOHPROMATÉM is the word metamorphosis in French backwards. It's talking about going back to our natural state, to go back to our natural source. As we enter the installation, I started thinking about change now. What does that actually mean? To change, we have to be confronted with the past. So I started looking at what happened to the Earth and what was the natural disaster that really impacted us the most. And I came across Fukushima. So I found some graphs of the radiation that went into the ocean. So on the floor, this graph is represented by the colored paper. The flowers are sunflowers that they were planted, millions of sunflowers, because they actually clean up the earth. They drink the radiation, they keep them in their leaves and their stem, but it modifies the flower. I made them human size, child and adult, because I want us to be really confronted with them. All of the flowers are real. I copied them from photos, so as much as this is a magical space, it's also a very real space. As we continue, we can also see that there are tree rings. So the tree reveals these different tree rings. There are actually 12 of them that are colored. And this is to remind us of what the United Nations said in 2018 at the Paris Agreements. The fact that we only have 12 years left in order to save the Earth before the damage is irreversible, what we have done. So we're basically walking down the pathway and really trying to understand our impact on the Earth in order to come to this magical center, which is all made of gold. So we're invited to go in the center of the tree. Now the tree really represents the diversity of the world, because all these books are from many different types of people, many different areas. Some are in Polish, in English, in French, in Chinese, in Hebrew, all about different subjects. And they're all coming together to represent the diversity and harmony in diversity, which is something we need to really work on. So we enter here, and it's all gold, and we're invited to be confronted here with the beauty and secret of nature, which is here, this monarch butterfly. So the monarch is the being in the world that migrates the furthest from Canada or northern United States down to Mexico, and they really follow their instinct. And this small, tiny, fragile being goes all the way down, and they all migrate by themselves, and they find themselves in a community together in Mexico. And so that's what we're kind of invited to do here. We can take a piece of origami, we come in here, and we can write a promise to nature. The sound that we're hearing is the sound of me working on the books, transforming them, bringing them back to their natural source, and I slowed it down to the frequency and the vibration that plants communicate with each other. So even the process has become a natural back into the language of plants and back into the nature of the language of nature. So after we've written our promise to nature, then we can come out and we're going to fold it into this origami, this traditional Japanese origami to reference Fukushima. That represents really a cocoon. We have to fold it and then we blow inside to give our DNA. And then after it becomes on the tree, just like the butterflies in Mexico, they come together as a community, and we're hoping that they will metamorphose. So all of these promises to nature will metamorphose and become realities. So that is the history behind the installation. All of the books are upcycled. All of the paper that represents the pollution that we have put on the earth. Most of the paper has been from other projects, and they will be used for other projects. The red paper, I did a performance at the Nature Museum here in Paris, and that performance had lots of red paper on the stage where I danced. So I recycled that paper, and I'm sure that I'm going to create many new things with this paper as well. Even the book covers that are chosen, every little page, every little thing has been really dissected and in order to express all this research. Wooden chairs, so how we've kind of modified or appropriated some asparagus that are very
aligned?
So the books, actually, I get them from the street, from people's places that don't want their books anymore. A lot of times people will die too, and I see them putting the thousands of books on the street, and I'll get them and transform them. But it's actually a really beautiful process, because about 2 months ago I found some books near Bastille in Paris. They were putting about 2,000 books out on the street, so I took them, and when I got home I remember this really magical moment where I lit a bunch of candles and looked through his books, and I felt like I knew the person afterwards, so it just became very special to work with his collection. I found love letters, I found diary entries. I should have kissed her 10 years ago. I found letters from the president telling him congratulations for your book. I also started to realize that he must have been Christian and he wanted to become Jewish, because there was a lot of books on how to learn Hebrew or how to integrate into the Jewish culture. So it's also a very intimate thing to realize that books are obviously come from trees, but books also have a natural, unique identity of their own, and I like to incorporate that story as well.
I have these tree mushrooms as well that all have different portraits of people on them that I found in the books. So fungus is a really important thing to our world, because without fungus we wouldn't even be existing, because it's what helps the plants communicate together and thrive. But also these types of mushrooms can attach themselves to trees, and they can really deplete the tree of its nutrients and kill it, and being a parasite. So this invites us to really reflect on our role within nature and decide, do we want to be a parasite, or do we want to be something that is going to really help and be harmonious with the natural community?